Hello and welcome back. Once again, it's time for the Golden Age of DC Comics 365 Days, where I take this beloved hardcover coffee table book given to me about 2 decades ago by one of my best friends. This has been surfing my coffee table ever since, and it's a constant source of comic book shop style conversations that I intend to recreate here today with you. Thank you so much for tuning in. The Golden Age of DC Comics runs between 1938 and 1955. The Silver Age starts in 1956 and runs until 1970. The Bronze Age, I'm a Bronze Age baby, runs between 1970 and 1985. And the Copper Age begins in 1985 or so. I get these approximations and suggestions from this standard, the Overstreet Price Guide, the current issue. And I use the glossary, which they have the ages of comics in here. And I find it to be an exceptionally acceptable standard to start from, to have these conversations. What age are we in right now? Let's talk about it. You want to talk comics? I'm here. I'm your Huckleberry. This is a 2004 Abrams publication, written and curated by Les Daniels, Chip Kidd, and Geoff Spear. You can find the link to the Amazon page in the description if you want your own copy. It'll look great on your coffee table, and you can play along at home. Also, it makes a great gift for a geek. I know. I'm taking this book for its intended purpose. It's a 365 days book. I'm going to open up to today's date, August the 12th. We are going to look at some comic book art of an antediluvian age, and then we're going to read the blurb, and then we're going to talk about comic books, and we're going to talk about comic books every day for the rest of the year. So let's get to it. I love it that you're here with us today. You're tuned in. I hope you're having a good day. I hope you're clobbering this day and not being clobbered by it. There's a choice to be made sometimes in life. It is August the 12th. This is story and art by Jimmy Thompson for Star Spangled Comics number 73, October of 1947. It's the first Robot Man. Robert Crane, the first Robot Man. Let's read the blurb, and then we'll catch up with the Robot Men in our lives and fictions. Awesome. A mechanical man versus a suit of armor sounds like a fair fight, but the hero is losing his footing. Yeah. Comical dismemberment was stock in trade for Robot Man, one of several characters created by Superman scribe Jerry Siegel in the wake of his greatest success. In an unusually grim premise, inventor Paul Dennis was killed by crooks, but managed to get his brain inserted into his latest invention and remained quite cheerful about the results. Perhaps Robot Man's luckiest break was eventually falling into the hands of a writer-artist who combined cartooning with elements of children's books illustration to produce an unusually charming style. Yeah, I mean, look at that, how expressive Robot Man's face is. He's a cyborg. He's not a robot, but he is a robot with a human brain. Huh? Yeah, and this is not to be confused with the Silver Bronze Age and Current Age Robot Man. You might know Cliff Steele, member of the Doom Patrol, also portrayed by Brendan Fraser in the really outrageous, grotesque, and spot-on HBO series, The Doom Patrol. Check that out. I mean, Timothy Dalton as Professor Niles Calder. I mean, they got all the casting just right. I mean, I didn't know how to feel about switching Cyborg, Cyborg, not Ray. I'm not talking about the Snyderverse Cyborg. It's the same character, but a different universe. So, but they were supposed to use Beast Boy, Changeling from Teen Titans. He began on Doom Patrol, and then carried over to Teen Titans and found his best friend, Cyborg, Vic Stone. And, I mean, those two are an awesome comic pairing. You know what is a great pairing? Some coffee to go along with our coffee table talk. It's true. both Cliff Steele and Robert Crane suffered the same kind of fate. Although Robert Crane was murdered, he was fatally shot and then had his brain transplanted into a robot body. Cliff Steele was a daredevil and a race car driver, and he didn't survive his wreck, except his brain did, and his brain was put into a mechanical body. Let me wet my whistle. And the thing about the Doom Patrol was a really interesting introspection into such an idea that you can't feel your hands. You're not really breathing. You're like, what would it feel like as a human to have this experience, to be able to vocalize, to be able to hear and to see, yet you have no sense of smell, no sense of taste, no sense of touch, and it must be very unsettling. And so this Doom Patrol show put across that psych component of trauma, and then his long recovery, and his acceptance, and his resilience. And Robot Man's got a great story. I love the Cliff Steele version, the Doom Patrol version. And here's something that that's interesting, that Cliff Steele's Robot Man and is not a Silver Age reinvention of the Golden Age Robert Crane's Robot Man. They apparently, the artist didn't realize there had been a previous character named Robot Man in the Golden Age, and that they had the same kind of circumstance of being a transplanted human brain in order to save the patient. It's some mad science. And I don't know. It could be something that just to be believed or not. And I tend to, why not? I'll believe that one. Sure. That sounds like if there was no intent, such as behind Flash or Green Lantern, to reinvent the property, the IP. We have the terminology for it now. We have the vocabulary. There was no attempt to reboot Robert Crane's Robot Man into being Cliff Steele. They were apparently two independent characters, but by the same publishing house. Interesting. And apparently Cliff Steele's first hero name was Automaton, which, the Arnold Drake and the creator said that name was pretty stupid. I've been responsible for a lot of stupid things, but that was one of the stupidest. So within 2 issues, I figured that out and changed his name to Robot Man. But at the time, Drake didn't realize there had been a previous character named Robot Man. So that's where I'm reading that from the wiki. Yeah. Also reminds me of, there are a couple of, DC had a lot of brain swaps. There was, if you know the Brain, that's his name, the Brain in Monsieur Mala, who is an evolved a gorilla. There's Brain, who's literally a brain inside of a can that has a skull on it. So this device is keeping the brain alive. With Monsieur Mala is a super intelligent anthropomorphic gorilla supervillain found in DC Comics. Monsieur Mala wears a beret, and he's some kind of revolutionary. So the two of them together they're in love too, and it's a cross. You had this cross species love affair that cannot be consummated between two supervillains. It's just an outrageous concept. But there's Monsieur Mala and the Brain as a disembodied brain in a mechanical thing. You had Ultra Humanite, that was literally Superman's first nemesis. He transplanted his brain from his dying body into a young woman, and then had his consciousness transferred into the body of a giant albino ape. And so if you see a giant albino ape with an enlarged kind of alien cranium, that's Ultra Humanite. Ultra Humanite's one of Superman's first villains. He is literally his first nemesis, and it got replaced by Lex Luthor. Yeah. And then also, not DC Comics, I'm also thinking about RoboCop. I love RoboCop, the 1987 Paul Verhoeven movie, and even its RoboCop 2 sequel. It's pretty fun. RoboCop 3, not so much. Yet, the original RoboCop, you had a murdered policeman who most of his body was sacrificed to be fitted on a cyborg. So basically, there wasn't a lot of biology left. You basically had a head and some kind of digestive tract and maybe a heart and some lungs. RoboCop had to eat baby food. There was a reboot in 2014 that we literally saw how much was remaining of RoboCop, and there was a lot less. He was basically a head with a spinal column. When he came out of the suit kind of clicked off of him in his meditation chamber or his recharge unit, and his distraught ex-wife, his widow, got to see how much was remaining of her husband in this RoboCop. Yeah, so we've been talking about Robot Man, disembodied brains and robot bodies surviving with the power of fiction, and probably someday soon will be science fact, because we live here in the future in the 21st century, and we've been talking about the golden age of DC Comics, and we're going to be talking about comic books every day for the rest of the year. So please tune in tomorrow at 3 p.m. U.S. Eastern. We'll find out who we're talking about when we turn the page tomorrow. Please like and subscribe. I would love to be part of your YouTube day. We make daily content here. And also, just to let you know, I'm going to, later on tonight, be at the Fan Expo Boston, here in Boston, Massachusetts, at the Seaport. I've got a 3-day pass. I'm going to con all weekend with my YouTube friends that I made out here. So if you're in the Boston area, find me on Twitter. Let me know if you're there. We'll take some pictures. We'll have a beer. We can hang out. We're also doing a meetup on Saturday night. With anyone interested in showing up, again, hit me up on Twitter, and we'll give you the deets there. But yeah, we're hanging out all weekend. It's a geeky weekend. I'm gonna go cosplay on Saturday. I got Endgame cap. Look, I got my Mjolnir to go with my shield. I'm doing it. I'm gonna find Thanos and have words with thee. Ha ha! Awesome! Thank you so very much. Like and subscribe. Be part of this daily experience. We talk about comic books daily. We make daily content. We talk about cooking, spirituality, gratitude, nature moments with bunnies eating their breakfast on the lawn. And if it's a clear morning in the pre-dawn sky, I will point out the planets to you. I love doing stuff like this. Thank you for coming aboard. Cheers. Namaste. Good luck. And we will see you again tomorrow in the funny pages, okay? Cheers, and I hope to see you at the con. Fan Expo Boston this weekend. Cheers. Bye-bye.